Today we're diving into the neon-lit, crime-infested world of Johannesburg, with Chappie, the baby brother of Neill Blomkamp's sci-fi trilogy, where robots have more personality disorders than my dating history. Chappie is like if your smart speaker went rogue, decided to become a gangster, and then had an identity crisis, while learning how to swear. It's a film that swings for the fences, trying to mix the existential dread of Black Mirror with the buddy cop vibe of Lethal Weapon, but with fewer explosions and more robots going through puberty. This movie is a rollercoaster from the production's tech wizardry that makes you believe robots can have bad hair days, to a score that's trying to give Chappie a soul, one synth note at a time. The journey to bring Chappie to life is as quirky as the film itself. Neill Blomkamp, fresh off the success of District 9 and the somewhat divisive Elysium, was itching to tell another story about technology and humanity, with a twist of humour and a dash of existential dread. He teamed up with Sony Pictures, who, after seeing Blomkamp's knack for blending social commentary with sci-fi, were all in for another ride. The script, co-written by Blomkamp and his wife Terry Tatchell, who also wrote the script for District 9, was born from a short film titled Tetraval, which introduced the concept of armed robots policing Johannesburg. The short was a hit among fans, sparking the idea to expand it into a feature-length film. So what does Chappie sound like? In Chappie, the soundtrack decides to elevate itself from mere background tunes to something of a scene stealer, courtesy of Hans Zimmer, whose name is practically shorthand for cinematic soundscapes. Known for his sweeping scores in films like Inception, The Dark Knight and Gladiator, Zimmer collaborates with Steve Mazzaro to give us a musical experience that tries to capture the vibe of Johannesburg with synthetic rhythms. They're joined by Andrew Kauczynski, adding layers to what could have been just another score. Together, Zimmer and Mazzaro and Kauczynski have indeed managed to create a soundtrack that isn't just playing in the background, it's actively participating in the storytelling. So while it may be a bit much at times, credit where it's due, they've made the music an integral part of the film's narrative journey. There's spoilers ahead as we dive into the plot. Well, in Johannesburg, where crime rates ascend like the price of avocados in a vegan's nightmare, Tetraval, a corporation with the moral fibre of a tofu block at a bacon festival, decides to roll out their latest innovation, Scout robots. Engineered by Dion Wilson, whose aspirations are as lofty as a Lego tower building contest, these robots sideline the human police. But wait, there's a twist. Vincent Moore, the corporate ladder's sore loser, has his own creation, the Moose, a machine so subtle it makes a bulldozer look like a whisper. Dion, in a fit of inspiration or perhaps insanity, crafts an AI so human it should be applying for citizenship. His creation, rejected by the corporate overlords, leads him to a clandestine act of rebellion. He kidnaps a battered scout robot, intent on giving it a soul. Enter the criminal underbelly of Johannesburg, where Ninja, Yolandi and America see not a technological marvel but a quick buck. They coerce Dion into making their new buddy Chappie. Now, with the naivety of a toddler in a war zone, Chappie learns life's harsh lessons, while Ninja tries to turn him into the next big thing in crime. Meanwhile, Vincent, green with envy and red with rage, unleashes a virus, turning Johannesburg into a lawless playground. As the city descends into chaos, Chappie, now a philosopher in a bulletproof vest, navigates this dystopian comedy of errors, learning about betrayal, love, and the art of self-preservation.
Are a very bad man. Now, I forgive you, bad man.
In a final act of satire, he manages to transcend his hardware, making Dion a permanent resident of Robotville and resurrecting Yolandi's essence. Because why let death stop a good mother's influence? So who is in this thing? Sharlto Copley, with a kind of commitment that makes you wonder if he practices his robot movements in his sleep, embodies Chappie with a soul that's more human than many of the film's flesh and blood characters. His voice a beacon of innocence in a world of chaos.
And there were children also. I made them fire even though I said please.
Paints Chappie as both the jester and the sage of this dystopian tale. Yet there's a moment where the screen's digital magic seemed to lag behind Copley's performance, like watching a puppet show where the strings are just a bit too visible. Then there's Dev Patel as Dion Wilson, the dreamer in a corporate nightmare. Patel's portrayal is like watching someone trying to light a candle in a hurricane. His earnestness is a lighthouse in the storm of Tetraval's greed. But the script sometimes forgets to give him the darker shades, leaving his character in a monochrome of idealism. Hugh Jackman, with a beard that seems to hold more grudges than a reality TV star, takes on Vincent Moore, the villain who's as predictable as a British summer. Jackman dives into the role with a glee, making you almost forget that beneath the jealousy and machismo, there's a character crying out for more than just the label of antagonist.
You're making me as cross as a frog in a sock, mate.
Ninja, playing a version of himself, blurs the line between reality and fiction so effectively you half expect him to launch into a rap during a quiet moment. His energy is the Zeph culture's anthem, but his character's depth is as shallow as a children's pool, leaving us with more questions about his real-life persona than his role in the film. Yolandi Visser, with hair as unpredictable as her character's mood, brings a maternal ferocity to the screen, making Yolandi the unexpected heart of the gang. She's the one teaching Chappie not just about life, but about love and loyalty, in a world where those are commodities. Yet her character's arc is like a sketch that never gets coloured in, leaving us with a silhouette of potential. Jose Pablo Cantillo as America is the silent strength, the muscle with more loyalty than the American flag he's named after. His performance is the quiet before the storm, but the storm never really comes from him. Sigourney Weaver's Michelle Bradley is the corporate ice queen. Her performance so chilling you'll think she's got Tetraval's profits running through her veins. She's the embodiment of every executive meeting gone wrong, but her screen time is like a quick dash through the boardroom, leaving you wanting to know more about the machinations.
Stop, please, Dion. Do you realize you just came to the CEO of a publicly traded weapons company? No, I'm sorry, Dion. You know how insurance works with those.
Brandon Orritt's Hippo is like a South African cake, multi-layered with menace and mirth. He's a loan shark you'd love to hate but can't help but laugh with. Chappie is a film where the cast performances are the oil that keeps the robotic heart beating, even if sometimes the machinery clanks a bit too loudly. So this is social satire, right? Well, Neill Blomkamp weaves a tapestry of themes that are as ambitious as they are messy, like trying to stitch together silk with a hammer. At its core, the film is a meditation on humanity, artificial intelligence, and the blurred lines between creator and creation. It asks profound questions about consciousness, identity, and what it means to be alive. The exploration of AI and consciousness is perhaps the film's most noble pursuit. Chappie, with his childlike innocence and rapid learning curve, becomes a mirror for our own humanity. Through him, we're invited to ponder the ethics of creating sentient beings and the responsibilities that comes with such power. But here's where the film stumbles. It's like watching a toddler learn to walk while wearing roller skates. The narrative doesn't quite give enough time or depth to unpack the themes. Then there's the theme of family and nature versus nurture. Chappie's parents, Ninja, Yolandi and Dion, each represent different aspects of parenting. Yolandi's love is genuine, Ninja's is pragmatic, and Dion's is almost divine in its creator's pride. Yet the film skims the surface of these dynamics. It's a satirical take on family, yes, but the satire often feels like a punchline without the setup. Crime, justice and technology's role in society are interwoven with an attempt at social commentary. Yet the film feels like it's playing dress-up with these themes rather than engaging with them critically. Moreover, Chappie struggles with its tone. It wants to be a profound sci-fi drama, a buddy comedy, and a critique of human nature all at once. This tonal inconsistency is where the film most notably misses the mark. The humour sometimes feels at odds with the darker, more serious moments, diluting the impact of both. In essence, Chappie is ambitious in its thematic reach, aiming for the stars with questions about life, love and technology. However, it often trips over its own feet. The legacy of Chappie, while not as luminous as Neill Blomkamp's earlier works, is a curious blend of missed opportunities and cult affection. In the immediate aftermath of its release, Chappie was met with a critical eye that saw more flaws than virtues. It was accused of being tonally inconsistent, a blend of genres that didn't always harmonise, and a narrative that sometimes felt like it was trying to tell too many stories. This led to a legacy of being the black sheep of Blomkamp's sci-fi trilogy, often overshadowed by the acclaim of District 9 and the divisive, yet more commercially successful Elysium. Chappie is a love letter to those who dream of machines with souls, a satirical jab at our society's love affair with technology, and a narrative that swings wildly between the profound and the preposterous. It's a film where the AI learns to love, swear, and steal cars faster than you can say system update. But let's not kid ourselves. For all its ambition, Chappie sometimes feels like watching a high-budget student film. It's got the ideas of a genius, but the execution of someone who's still figuring out how to use the editing software. Whilst District 9 transitioned from a short film to the big screen with astonishing grace, expanding its universe whilst retaining the raw, compelling storytelling that made the original short so impactful. In contrast, Chappie, despite its potential, never quite shakes off the feel of a project. The expansion feels somewhat strained. The film's visual and narrative scope seems to have been sketched thin, with the CGI and action sequences lacking the polish and scale that made District 9 a standout.
Getting hijacked, my friend. Welcome to Joburg.
Even though Chappie tackles big ideas about consciousness and identity, visually and tonally, never quite escapes the shadow of its more ambitious predecessors, feeling more like an extended concept rather than a fully realised cinematic experience. Now, Chappie is definitely worth a watch if you're in the mood for something different, if you're a fan of Blomkamp's previous works, or if you enjoy films that blend serious themes with satire. It really isn't for everyone, though. But for those who can appreciate its quirks, it can be an enjoyable, if flawed, experience. Chappie is a film that's as much about the joy of watching a robot learn to be human as it is about the human folly of trying to create something in our own flawed image. So click like if you've ever felt like a robot trying to navigate human emotions. Subscribe for more journeys into the bizarre and beautiful worlds of cinema. And in the comments tell me, would you reboot Chappie or leave it as a quirky, beloved part of sci-fi history? Every opinion counts, even if it's from a machine.